Okay, so today we're going to start a new chapter inside the reading. Okay, so it is called Bad Reading Habits. All right. So, what are the habits that you need to avoid while you are doing your IELTS reading comprehension? All right. So, you probably have some of these bad habits, understand them, and then eliminate them from your reading to become a good reader. So, to become a good reader, to understand the text that you get, you need to eliminate these reading habits. There are four bad reading habits. First of all, poor fluency. Second, not identifying the function of the keywords. And then, not paraphrasing or not understanding the organization. Okay, these are the four bad reading habits. Okay, so what do you mean by poor fluency? Machine gun reading. Okay, machine gun reading, crossing past commas and other punctuation marks instead of pausing. So different punctuations mark give different meanings of the sentence or the passages. Okay, so instead of pausing, when you do not take care of those punctuation or you do not consider those punctuation, the meaning or the understanding of the text might be hampered. Okay, so you should stop doing this. You should stop at commas, colons, semicolons, and try to understand what these punctuations mark are being used for. Okay, tired. Login? There's no login, Madan. What kind of login? Reading practice test. The one we did yesterday, I had sent um, WhatsApp group the link for that.
Okay, sir. They need to the passport and something login ID.
Log in with your Gmail, Madan. Okay, आफ्नो
Okay.
जिमेलबाट लगइन विथ जिमेल अप्सन क्लिक गर्नुहोस् अनि त्यहाँनिर आफ्नो जिमेलबाट लगइन गर्न मिल्छ अनि युल गेट द्याट प्यासेज है त्यसको लागि छुट्टै त्यो ऊहरू छैन आइडी र पासवर्ड भन्ने छैन तपाईँको जिमेलबाटै लगइन गर्ने हो त्यो
Okay,
अलराइट
sir. Okay.
ओके so stopping at commas colons semicolons and trying to understand the punctuation mark that is going to help you in your reading. So, what punctuation is used for and how you must think at every punctuation mark? Okay, so please read the example first. A very talented boy, Philip, was chosen to give a speech on Founders Day. A very talented boy, comma, Philip, was chosen to give a speech on Founders Day. This comma separates a subject pre-modifying phrase from the sentence. Everything before the comma describes the subject Philip. Now the punctuation mark comma is used to describe Philip, right? So how is Philip or what is Philip? Okay, so Philip is a very talented boy. So that comma separates Philip or the subject from the phrase that is given at first. Now, second example, Philip, comma, a very talented boy, comma, was chosen to give a speech on Founders Day. So sometimes the the phrases or the modifier which we call a very talented boy over here, it might come in between as well. Okay, duita comma ko between ma pani auna sakcha, right? It is still describes the subject Philip, right? So comma भन्दा अगाडि आएको कुराले पनि सब्जेक्टलाई डिस्क्राइब गर्न सक्छ, डिफाइन गर्छ। कहिलेकाहीँ सब्जेक्ट अनि त्यसपछि कमा पछि आएको कुराले पनि के हुन्छ त, त्यसले पनि सब्जेक्टलाई डिस्क्राइब गरिरहेको हुन्छ, राइट? Okay. Now, another use of comma. अर्को example हेर्नुहोस्. The organizers, comma, the participants and the spectators thought that the winning team had cheated. Now, त्यो comma जुन छ, the organizers पछिको comma, the participants and the spectators. अब यसले चाहिँ what they are doing is separating different subjects. अब धेरैवटा subjects. Just हामीले फर एक्जाम्पल भनेर कुनै सब्जेक्टहरूको बारेमा कुरा गर्छौँ भने त्यसमा कमा 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 दिएर कुरा गर्छौँ, राइट? सब्जेक्टलाई छुट्याउने काम पनि कमाले गर्छ। This comma is separating a compound. There are many subjects and they are separated by the subjects. Okay? त्यो comma जुन युज गरिन्छ different subjectsले separate गरिरहेको छ। ठीक छ? Are you getting के confusion छ? Okay, well understood. Now, another example. He realized that the situation had reached an impasse, a situation in which neither side could win. Impasse भनेको के हो थाहा छ तपाईहरुलाई? Pass by maybe, go through. के हो यो impasse भनेको? थाहा छ, कसलाई थाहा छ भन्नुस् त? Through. कसैलाई थाहा छैन? उद्धव, निशुर, डेभिड, इना, जिवेश, जुनिप, खै सुशीला. What is impasse? हो अब यहाँनेरि ल हेर्नुस्. Exactly, yes. Jayan got it. Pappu, however, got it अलिअलि है. So यही कमा पछि नै डिस्क्राइब गरेको छ यसको यहाँनेरि मिनिङ ए, अ सिचुएसन इन विच निदर साइड कुड विन. अगाडि केही पनि गर्न सकिन्न जस्तो सिचुएसन भयो भनेदेखि त्यसलाई के भनिन्छ त? इम्पास भनिन्छ। हो, अब कमाको डिनोट यसै गरी रिडिङको अन्डरस्ट्यान्डिङ, यु सुड मेक द अन्डरस्ट्यान्डिङ बेटर है। सो यहाँ कमा भन्दा अगाडि इम्पास, हियर द कमा इज युज टु इन्ट्रोड्युस एन अब्जेक्ट मोडिफायर. एभ्रिथिङ आफ्टर द कमा डिस्क्राइब्स द अब्जेक्ट इम्पास भनिरहेछ हो. सो सेन्टेन्स पढेर पनि मिनिङ्सहरू थाहा हुन्छ है. सो यु सुड बी केयरफुल अबाउट दिस. ठिक छ? Now, the another one. The football match soon culminated in a draw, semicolon. Neither side had the will or the energy to score a goal. अब punctuation mark मा अर्को semicolon पनि पर्यो यहाँनेरि. The semicolon is used to separate full sentences that have a close connection. So दुईटा different sentences छ तर त्यो दुईटा sentences को चाहिँ एकअर्कासँग connection छ भने त्यसलाई हामीले के गर्छौं त semicolon दिएर छुट्याउँछौं. All right. Another one, the engineer soon realized that she had a problem. The laborers refused to work, and the supervisors could not convince them to pick up their tools and start working. Here, the colon is used for elaboration and explanation. Everything after the colon elaborates on something before the colon. So the engineer soon realized that she had a problem. So what the problem is? The problem is the laborers refused to work, supervisors could not convince them. So यो कुरालाई describe गर्नलाई चाहिँ we use colon. Everything before the colon, त्यसैलाई explanation दिनलाई or elaborate गर्नको लागि we use the colon. Right? Understood? Confusion छ भने सोध्नुस् है. मैले बिच बिचमा सोधिरहेको हुन्छु तपाईहरुलाई के क्वेशन छ छैन भनेर. If understood, then we move on. Now, another bad reading habits, not identifying the functions of keyword. Identifying the function of keyword. Keywords link ideas in a text, and if you do not understand the connection between the ideas, you will not understand the text. Okay, there are several keywords used in IELTS text. So, Amile, in writing as well, we use this phrases, right? And now in reading, जुन passages दिएको हुन्छ त्यसमा पनि you can find the keywords there. So very first, but, yet, though, although, despite, in spite of, however, these things, these keywords link ideas that are opposite to each other. Whenever you're describing something and you're going to describe um, or you're going to contradict those ideas, then what you do is you kind of use these kinds of words, connecting words, or the keywords, right? So, for example, if you see here, he is tall, but his father is very short. So, your opposite kura bhanirahcha. Much more commonly, they connect ideas with a relation of irony, the unexpected. भनेकै opposing कुरा they contradict. So he studied really hard for the math test, but failed miserably. Now, but ko use यसरी आयो है. So opposite कुरा. Though he had now though he had spent a lot of money on his house, he was still not satisfied with the way it looked. So he spent the money. Though he spent the money, he was not satisfied. That means the unexpected, right? Now the next keywords, and, or, in the same way as, etc. The words connect the parallel ideas. Every type of ideas छ भनेदेखि हामीले के गर्छौं त and, or, in the same way as we mention these things. So he works at a pharmacy and his wife works at a department store, right? So दुईटै relatable ideas हो. Pharmacy मा work गर्छ, wife ले departmental store मा work गर्छ. I will make a meringue pie or a rice pudding, right? So different thing with similar ideas or the parallel ideas. Now, because, so, that, such that, thus, etc., These words connect a cause and effect. So the reasoning, the causes, right? Um, or the consequences that is shown by these kinds of keywords. Because he had been caught cheating, he was expelled from the college. I was late for the lab period, so the teacher scolded me, right? Why he was expelled from the college? Because he had been caught cheating. Why the teacher scolded? Because being late for the lab period, right? So cause and effect, Vansela, eh? Okay. Now, not paraphrasing. Another bad reading habit is not paraphrasing the text. So paraphrasing comes everywhere, right? You must paraphrase. Now, to understand the text better, uh, you must be able to um, convert the text into your own words, right? Or you should, to understand the meaning, you need to paraphrase. Whatever is written in the question or whatever is written in the passage, you should be able to convert that. Paraphrasing means converting the language of the passage into your own language. That makes the text understandable. Example of a paraphrase: the refugee was granted clemency because he was from a strife-ridden region of the world. What do you mean by clemency? Do you have any idea? Clemency भनेको के हो? What is clemency? Yes, it is called to be pardoned, eh? Pardon गर्नु or what do you say? So mercy. So mercy or pardon or um, forgive or something like that. All right. So your paraphrase: no one was going to punish the refugee because the place where he came from was full of trouble. So this sentence here has been paraphrased to this, right? So you should be able to paraphrase. अब यो तलको तपाईँले प्याराफ्रेज वाला यो सेन्टेन्स पढ्नुभयो भनेदेखि के थाहा हुन्छ त माथिको क्वेसन अलिकति गाह्रो लागेको थियो माथिको सेन्टेन्स अलिकति गाह्रो थियो यसैलाई हामीले प्याराफ्रेज गर्न सक्यौँ भनेदेखि के हुन्छ त अन्डरस्ट्यान्डिङ हुन्छ बेटर है सो paraphrasing helps you in two ways. You understand the text better, you commit what you have read to long term memory. Okay, if you are able to paraphrase or if you are able to convert it in your own language or find the meaning, what happens is it's easier for you to memorize it, right? It stays in your head for a longer period of time. So that is why paraphrasing is important. Now, 5 strategies to paraphrase. Actually, your pornusta first go change a word from one part of speech to another part of speech. Second go paraphrase a sentence using different words. Third go paraphrase a sentence using different words. Fourth go paraphrase a sentence using different words. Fifth go paraphrase a sentence using different words. Sixth go paraphrase a sentence using different words. Okay. If you see over here in the original text says, medical professor John Swanson says that global changes are influencing the spread of disease. अब यसको वर्बलाई नाउनमा नाउनलाई वर्बमा त्यसरी चेन्ज गर्नेलाई के भन्छ त अर एक्जेक्टिभमा चेन्ज गर्नु वर्बलाई एक्जेक्टिभमा चेन्ज गर्नु त्यसलाई के भनिन्छ चेन्जिङ द पार्ट अफ स्पिच भनेर भनिन्छ फर इक्जाम्पल ग्लोबललाई हामीले के भन्यौँ त अक्रस द ग्लोब राइट इन्फ्लुएन्सिङलाई हामीले के भन्यौँ त कजिङ भनेर भन्यौँ राइट सो सेजलाई हामीले के भन्यौँ त अकर्डिङ टु जन सान्सन भनेर भन्यौँ दिस इज चेन्जिङ द पार्ट अफ स्पिच है this one way of paraphrasing is this now the another way of paraphrasing is using the synonyms most common है एकदमै कमन प्याराफ्रेजिङको एउटा टेक्निक भनेको युजिङ द सिनोनिम्स नाउ रिड द टेक्स्ट प्लिज ओरिजिनल र प्याराफ्रेजिङमा कसरी यहाँ यहाँ जे सेन्टेन्सहरू लेखेको छ त्यसैको सिनोनिम्सहरू युज गरेर फेरि त्यही कुरालाई यहाँनिर लेखेको छ हेर्नुहोस् त सिमिलर वर्ड्सहरू युज गरेर एकचोटि पढ्नुहोस् त Okay, did you read it? पढ्नुभयो? Did you find the words being paraphrased using the synonyms or the similar phrases? Okay. Now, another way is changing the numbers and percentage to different forms. So if you look at this original text, there are some numbers, but when in the paraphrased words, त्यसलाई अलिकति अर्कै वेमा लेखेको छ पढ्नुहोस् त फेरि changing the numbers and percentage into different forms. Paraphrase गर्ने तरिकाहरू है डन पढ्नुभयो changing the numbers and percentage to different forms. Yes, 13 like के भने त less than 15%, 46% like almost half भनेर भन्यो right? So यसरी पनि you can change the numbers and percentage to different forms. Now changing the word order. This might include changing from active to passive voice or moving modifiers to different position. So you move the words पछाडिको कुरालाई अगाडि अगाडिको कुरालाई पछाडि राइट एक्टिभ भोइसलाई प्यासिभ भोइसमा प्लिज रिड इट Yes, the passive form है. Active form लाई हामीले passive form मा लिएर गएका छौं. Okay, now the final way of changing, paraphrasing is using different definition structures. Now, in this, you can find the Lyme disease been described or defined in a different way. माथि एउटा वेले डिफाइन गरेछ, तल अर्को वेमा डिफाइन गरेछ. सेम कुरा, right? So the symptoms, right? Symptoms and the causes त्यहीँनेरि दिएको छ. माथि पनि त्यही दिएको छ, तल पनि त्यही दिएको छ. तर if you check the definition दिने तरिका छुट्टा छुट्टै छ. Can you please read? Okay, so while paraphrasing, you should not break these rules. Okay, so you don't change the meaning. Original text को meaning कहिले पनि change गर्नु भएन. Don't add something. जे कुरा टेक्स्टमा ओरिजिनली दिएको छ त्यसमा नयाँ कुरा एड गर्नु हुँदैन कहिले पनि. A new context, and you do not omit anything. An original context is very important. So यसमा Lyme disease को बारेमा is okay. So omit पनि गर्नु भएन केही कुरा. Causes र symptoms को बारेमा कुरा गरेछ भने symptoms लाई हटाइदिएर causes को मात्र कुरा गर्ने, or symptoms लाई हटाइदिएर चाहिँ अर्को कुरा लिएर आएर एड गर्ने, त्यो कुरा चाहिँ गर्नु हुँदैन है प्याराफ्रेजिङ गर्ने बेलामा. So overall, the meaning of the passage or the meaning of the sentences should not be changed. It is a very important rule of paraphrasing. All right. Not understanding the organization. Fourth bad habit. Contain a thesis, topic sentence for the whole passages, and each body paragraph contain its own topic. The thesis states the direction that the entire passage will take. So सुरुको एक दुई लाइनको टपिक सेन्टेन्सबाटै के थाहा हुन्छ त what this passage is about भन्ने कुरा थाहा हुन्छ है. So you should understand the organization. So topic sentence कसरी दिएको छ, त्यसमा thesis statement के दिएको छ, right? About understanding the organization is very important, because if you understand how passage is organized, you have understood the gist of the passage. तपाईले कुनै प्यासेज पढ्दाखेरि त्यसको अर्गनाइज स्ट्रक्चर्ड एउटा लजिकल सिक्वेन्सिङ बुझ्नुभयो भनेदेखि के हुन्छ त त्यो प्यासेजले भन्न खोजेको कुरा के हो जिस्ट बुझिन्छ हामीले. सो इट्स भेरी इम्पोर्टेन्ट टु अन्डरस्ट्यान्ड द अर्गनाइजेसन अफ द प्यासेज. ठिक छ. Okay. Now let's move on to another chapter. Matching the paragraph headings, right? So one of the type of question that most of the students find difficult, as you practice गरौँ है अलिकति क्वेशन्सहरु पनि छ यसमा and how to do it पहिला सुरु. This lesson provides you with further practice on IELTS paragraph heading matching type questions. Imagine you are doing a reading task which involves choosing the correct headings for paragraphs from a list of possible headings. Okay, so some basic tricks. It may be very tempting to cross off the headings that you have used before. Now, for example, here is an example of a task that someone is halfway through after choosing four IELTS paragraph headings, right? So, यसरी choose गरिरहेको एउटा paragraph रहेछ. Let's see. What's wrong with crossing off? अब हाम्रो बानी के हुन्छ त paragraph heading choose गर्दाखेरि भने we read the passage, we think that okay, so option number B is correct भनेर भन्छौँ. हामीले option number B question number 1 लाई लगाइसकेका हुन्छौँ. त्यसपछि 2 मा गएर हामीले अर्को option choose गर्छौँ. 3 मा गएर हामीले B र C लाई कन्सिडर गर्दैनौँ. हामी अरु प्यासेज पढ्नतिर लाग्छौँ. तर there is a high possibility that जुन थर्ड नम्बरको क्वेशन छ त्यसको आन्सर चाहिँ बी हुन सक्ने चान्सेस हुन्छ फेरि पनि. So when you cross off or when you do not consider the options longer, भने what happens is it's high chance that you are going to make mistakes, right? So if you no longer consider those options for any remaining paragraph, so it says the same thing here, right? Let's suppose that you have incorrectly chosen heading 1 for paragraph number I, then heading 1 should in fact be used for paragraph number 5. If you cross out the options as you go, it means that when you come to do paragraph number 5, you will choose a different incorrect options, right? So considering the headings, right? So crossing off the options as you go, यसरी गर्नु हुँदैन. So until and unless you are at the end of the questions, त्यति बेलासम्म अर्को पनि आन्सर हुन सक्छ भनेर कन्सिडर गर्नुपर्छ. So while you move on to the next questions, what happens is the one you have put already on the previous question, that might be the correct answer for another question, right? So in this way, you making one mistakes can lead to another, or making two mistakes early on can easily lead to 5 or 6 wrong answers. So a much better idea is just to write down a paragraph number at the end of each options as you go. For each paragraph, consider all the possible headings, and at this stage, don't worry if you have more than one paragraph number after each headings. So last मा गएर मिल्दो खालको अप्सन्सलाई चाहिँ तपाईले राख्नु पर्यो. सुरुमै तपाईले कुनै क्वेशनलाई अर्कै अप्सन दिइसक्नु भएको छ भने त्यो भन्दा पछिको क्वेशनलाई त्यो अप्सन हुँदैन है भनेर अर्को अप्सन चुज गर्नतिर लाग्नु भएन. त्यो अप्सन पनि हुन सक्छ भनेर त्यसलाई पनि कन्सिडर गर्नुपर्छ है. Okay. So यहाँ हेर्नुस् त लेफ्ट ह्यान्ड साइडमा राइट द प्याराग्राफ नम्बर एट द एन्ड. अब यसरी अप्सन्सहरु हामीलाई हेडिङ्सहरु दिएको छ. यसमा हामीले के गर्न मिल्यो त प्याराग्राफ नम्बरहरु पछाडी पछाडी लेख्न मिल्यो. अनि अब जस्तो 3 नम्बर तपाईले यहाँले लेख्नु भएको थियो क्यान्सलिङ द कप भनेर थर्ड प्यासेज भनेर लेख्नु भएको थियो. प्याराग्राफमा मिल्यो अनि बल्ल थर्ड प्याराग्राफलाई लास्टमा यसरी 3 भनेर यो अप्सनलाई काट्दिन मिल्यो यहाँबाट, राइट? तर अप्सन्सहरु कन्सिडर चाहिँ पहिला पनि गर्नुपर्छ है. So you may, for example, have something like this as you go through the exercise, paragraph number 2, 8 and 4. When you get to the end of the passage, you'll probably have a single paragraph number after most of the IELTS paragraph headings. You can now cross off those options. तपाईं end मा पुगिसकेपछि अब यो चाहिँ हो भन्ने लाग्छ भनेदेखि अनि बल्ल क्रस गर्ने. For 1 and 2 perhaps you'll have more than one. For each of these, go back to the passage and decide which of your choices is the best. The paragraph you are left over with must need one of the other heading that you didn't choose. Right? So best choice कुन हो त्यसलाई select गर्नु पर्यो. पछि जुन चाहिँ अप्सन्स जुन चाहिँ प्याराग्राफको अप्सन भनेर हेडिङ भनेर तपाईँले कन्सिडर गर्नु भएको छैन त्यसको पनि कुन चाहिँ हेडिङ फिट गर्छ भनेर बेस्ट कुरा चाहिँ चुज गर्नुपर्छ एट लास्ट. आर यु गाइज गेटिङ मी? केही कन्फ्युजन छ? Okay, so you can see the list of the headings here, right? You can list of the headings A देखि J सम्म छ. Now let's try this approach, right? I'll be showing the heading one by passages. सात passages हुन सक्छ तपाईहरु पेपर पेनमा एकचोटी. Alright? Paper पे एकचोटी लेख्नु. You have chosen the heading. Um, let's move on to the next one. And I'll show you the another passage. Passage choose गर्नुहोस्. अर्को passage. Consider the option. हेडिङ चाहिँ यो पनि हो त्यो पनि हो जस्तो लागेको भने दुईटै अप्सन लेख्नु. राइट? अर्को मेबी होइन So sorry, I lost my connection. कसरी lost भयो? Okay, can you see? Okay, can you move on to the next passage? Okay, अब यसको हेडिङ कुन हो चुज गर्नुस्. Okay, can you move on to next passage? अर्को प्यासेजमा जाँदा हुन्छ। Okay, third one. Okay, next one. Done? Okay. Next one. Done? Okay, another one. Done. Okay, now the next one and the last one. Okay. After you have finished, send me the answers, please. Okay, finished. Okay, check your answers. One is I, violence in the news again. Two is H, not to blame. Three is violence at the core of Italian football, G. Four is J, a widespread problem. Five is legal action is taken, E. Six is a climate of fear. Seven is FIFA's response, C. Now, if you look at this, we can see hooliganism back in media. Hooliganism means danga fasad back in media, which means यसबाट के clear भयो त violence in the news again. Now, another one, the Florence Club are appealing against the decision because the object was thrown by rival Salernitana fan, not the Florence Club fans. फ्लोरेन्स क्लबको फ्यानले होइन कि स्यालरेन्टिनाको फ्यान्सले पठाएको थियो सो युएफआले चाहिँ दे सुड बी कन्सिडरिङ द्याट फ्लोरेन्स क्लब चाहिँ अवे फ्रम होम थियो त्यो भएको भएर उसले गरेको नहुन सक्छ यो राइट सो त्यो भएको भएर नट टु ब्लेम एच थ्री violence is the major problem in the Italian game. Violence at the core of Italian football. यहीँबाट थाहा हुन्छ है Next one, but Italy is not the only country suffering from what used to be called the English disease, which means a widespread problem. इटलीमा मात्रै होइन सबैतिर यस्तै रहेछ 5. Argentinian judgeले suspend गर्यो सबै कुरा. Same judge halted the first division and for 2 weeks. भनिसकेपछि के भयो त? That is legal action is taken. Suspend गरिदियो, right? Halt गरिदियो भनिसकेपछि legal action is taken. 6 number. Last line बाट थाहा हुन्छ because they were too scared to attend, which means climate of fear. Now, 7 number. FIFA is considering the postponement of यो भनेको C नै हो, FIFA's response. Got it? Okay. Okay, let's do this much for today. I think I'll not be able to take your class tomorrow. I've got some important work, but I'll send you some questions to practice. त्यो क्वेसन्सहरू प्र्याक्टिस गर्नु होला. एन्ड फ्राइडे पनि म तपाईँलाई क्वेसन्स पठाइदिन्छु मक टेस्टको लागि. ओके, एन्ड यु गाइज डु द्याट एन्ड विल स्टार्ट विथ द नेक्स्ट सेक्सन. यस जुनिप. Junip, yes, I got your message today as well. म एकदमै यो अहिले यो फेब्रुअरी इन्ट्रेक अस्ट्रेलियाको फाइल्सहरूले एकदम कभर्ड अप भएको छु. सो म हेर्छु भन्छु, भ्याइरहेको छैन त. आई प्रोबेबली लुक इन्टु इट टुमोरो. जुनिप है, आई एम सो सरी. अलराइट. ओके, थ्याङ्क यू भेरी मच गाइज. गुड नाइट. सो आई थिङ्क हामी क्लास नै चाहिँ अब सन्डे गर्छौँ, तर बिचबिचमा तपाईँहरूलाई म क्वेसन्सहरू यताउति चाहिँ पठाइदिइरहेको छु है त. एन्ड आइल सेन्ड अ नोटिस एज वेल भोलि क्लास हुँदैन भनेर. थ्याङ्क यू भेरी मच. बाई बाई. गुड नाइट.